A principal, desperate to end his drug problem in his school. An officer, desperate for an arrest. And a jealous classmate, desperate for a way out. And the prosecution is here today to prove that Miss Concha is guilty of two things. One, possession with the intent to sell, and two, second-degree murder. The prosecution must meet their burden of proof on each charge, a burden of proof which, may I remind you, is very high. Now, in order to prove possession with the intent to sell, the people must prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Miss Concha unlawfully possessed a controlled substance, knew of the controlled substance presence, and knew that the substance's nature or character as a controlled substance. Furthermore, they must also prove that the controlled substance was Adderall, that it was in a usable amount, and that Miss Concha intended to sell it. Think of these 6 items as a list, and the prosecution must prove every item on the list beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, it's undisputed that the controlled substance was Adderall. It's undisputed that it was in a usable amount. And it's undisputed that Miss Concha unlawfully possessed it simply due to the fact that it was in the back of her car. Yet these things alone do not prove Miss Concha's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. She was not aware of the controlled substance presence, and she did not intend to sell the controlled substance. Ray wasn't aware of the controlled substance in her car. Remember what you heard from Ray herself. The blue backpack with the drugs that was found in her car on the morning of March 27th was not her backpack. This backpack had nylon cords with zippers striped dark gray and black. Ray's backpack had zippers with cords striped dark blue and black. Drugs did belong in that backpack, but the backpack did not belong to Ray. It belonged to Alex. As corroborated by what Ms. Perkins told you tonight, she always saw Alex walking around with a blue backpack. Also testified to tonight was a 2-hour period of time in which Alex Weaver could have easily put that incriminating evidence in the backpack into the rear luggage area of Ray's car. Alex spoke with Sam Shumway after Jason's death. Sam told Alex that they needed to find out who killed Jason. Then 2 hours later, Alex showed up with all the incriminating evidence that pointed towards Ray as the guilty party. And now remember the testimony of tonight when Alex was talking with Officer Shumway. When I was talking to Officer Doherty about finding Jason's killer. Officer Doherty testified that Alex seemed anxious, that Alex couldn't even look him in the eye. The people must also prove that Ray intended to sell the controlled substance. Their only damning evidence pointing towards this conclusion comes from none other than Alex Weaver herself, and comes conveniently timed after Jason's death, after her startling conversation with Sam, and after she had enough time to place the incriminating evidence in Ray's car. The only other piece of evidence pointing towards this conclusion is that Ray was buying sandwich bags at the A-Frame Market on February 27th. However, as Ray told you herself, and as Del Piper corroborated, Ray was buying plastic baggies for a chief, and specifically for their takeout day. They were running low on baggies. Ray took it upon herself to get more because she knew they'd need them for takeout day. Furthermore, Ray told you tonight that her favorite job at Achieve was counseling young people with their drug problems and helping them get through them. Does that really sound like someone who would sell drugs to their classmates? To their best friend? Now let's move on to the second charge, second-degree murder. In order to prove Miss Concha guilty of second-degree murder, the people must prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Miss Concha intentionally committed the act that killed Jason Johnson, did so with conscious disregard for human life. They must also prove that the natural and probable causes of the act were dangerous to human life, and that at the time Miss Concha committed the act, her actions were dangerous to human life. And like before, I'd like you to think of this charge as well as a list. And I'd like to remind you that the people have to prove every item on the list beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, it's undisputed that the natural and probable causes of the act were dangerous to Jason Johnson's life because Ray knew of Jason's heart defect. And even said herself, she knew how dangerous Adderall could be to her friend. But this evidence doesn't hurt our case. In fact, it helps it. Ray and Jason were good friends, had known each other since middle school. Ray knew Jason had a heart defect, and that taking Adderall was life-threatening. So why would she supply him with that, knowing that it could kill him, her best friend? Now, the only other shred of evidence the prosecution has is Alex's claim that she saw Ray shaking hands with Jason in the parking lot on the morning Jason died, which according to Officer Doherty is a common method of transferring drugs to another person. that she just knew that Ray was giving her pills. Now let's revisit Avery Perkins' testimony from tonight. And she's an omniscient observer with no axe to grind. She had Alex in her class, Ray in her class, and Jason in her class, and observed all three of their behaviors side by side by side. And she told you tonight that it was Alex, not Ray, who she always saw shaking people's hands. That it was Alex who was unusually popular for being a new student. And that Jason's odd behavior, due to his new drug usage, began at the same time Alex transferred to Rosewood High. Alex was the drug dealer, not Ray. Alex killed Jason, not Ray. And when the evidence supports two reasonable interpretations of what happened, as it does here, you must accept the interpretation pointing towards innocence. You must find Ray not guilty.
Thank you.